Ever hit that wall when you are trying to learn something new? Like
Yeah.
you just want to kind of give up.
Yeah.
We're going deep on that today.
Okay.
All about growth mindset, breaking through those barriers.
Unlocking your potential.
Exactly. And, we see this all over the place in research and articles we read, like it's everywhere, this idea of growth mindset.
Right.
But we wanted to take one specific piece today and really kind of dig in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is an article that we're looking at that really gets into some, I don't know, actionable things,
Okay.
Not just, oh, yeah, have a growth mindset,
Right.
but how?
Yeah, how do you actually do that? What does that mean?
Exactly.
It's more than just positive self-talk, right?
Right.
Like what are the actual strategies that you can implement?
Yes. So this article
Sure.
kind of gets into that. So it's not just about, learning a new skill. It's about changing your relationship with learning itself.
Absolutely.
And it all starts with how you view challenges.
Absolutely.
Because
that's the foundation.
I think, yeah, because we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Where you hit that point and you're like,
100%.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
This is too hard.
And this article is suggesting we should actually be embracing those challenges.
Yes.
It sounds counterintuitive, right?
It's so funny because it's like our instinct, right, is to run away,
Yes.
to avoid,
Avoid.
to procrastinate.
Yes.
And actually, this is saying you need to do the opposite. You need to lean in.
Yeah.
You need to get curious about it.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think it's so true because when we avoid challenges, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to grow.
100%.
When we shy away from those difficult tasks or situations, what we're really doing is we're kind of reinforcing this idea in our mind that we're not capable.
Yeah.
But when we can shift our perspective a little bit and we can start to see those challenges as opportunities,
Yeah.
as almost like invitations to step outside of our comfort zone.
It's like a muscle, right?
Exactly.
You don't get stronger without,
You gotta push yourself a little bit. You gotta
Yeah.
feel a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of that resistance to actually build that strength.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with our mind. It's the same thing with our skills, our abilities, our talents.
So how do we do that? Because it's easy to say okay, I'm going to embrace the challenge. But when you're in it
Right.
and you're feeling that feeling,
Yeah.
how do you actually what's a tactic
Yeah.
to use?
I think one of the most powerful things you can do is actually is reframe it. You said it earlier, like reframing. So instead of viewing it as, "Ugh, this is such a problem,
Yeah.
this is such a challenge," reframe it as, "This is an opportunity for me to learn something new.
Oh, I like that.
This is an opportunity for me to grow,"
Yeah.
right? And so when we can start to reframe that challenge in our minds,
Yeah.
it can actually reduce some of that initial resistance and that fear that we feel.
Oh, okay, this is a good thing. I'm going to come out of this better on the other side, as opposed to
Exactly.
dreading it, fearing it, all that.
Exactly.
Mm.
And, and it might sound a little strange at first, but imagine those challenges not as roadblocks, but as detours. They're opportunities to learn something new, to gain valuable experience.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Like, think about it, think about a time when you were maybe tackling a really tricky project at work. Instead of getting overwhelmed, what if you approached it as a chance to master a new skill, to become even more valuable to your team? You come at it from a completely different energy.
It's true.
Right. And it can make all the difference.
Yeah, instead of being oh, this is going to be awful, this is,
Yeah.
okay, I like that.
Right.
That's good.
I can do this.
I can do this.
I'm going to learn from this. This is going to be great.
Okay, so I'm going to try to reframe it. What's next?
Okay. So you're reframing it, but then inevitably you're going to make some mistakes along the way.
Right, because that's part of it.
And this is a big one.
Yeah.
And this source is saying we need to learn to, and I don't love this word, but appreciate failure.
Appreciate failure. Oh, I was going to say, are you saying we should actually seek out failure?
Maybe not seek it out, but definitely appreciate its role.
Okay.
Because failure gives us feedback.
Yeah.
It's data.
Okay.
It tells us what works and what doesn't. This source really emphasizes failure as a stepping stone to success, not the end of the road.
Okay.
And I think that's such a key distinction to make.
Yeah. No, that's huge.
It's not the end of the road. It's just a bend in the road.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because I think we tend to, I don't know, our society, we tend to think of failure as this horrible thing.
It's so demonized,
And
right?
it's no, it's just part of the journey.
It's part of the process.
Yeah.
If you're not failing, you're probably not trying hard enough, right? Like if you're not pushing yourself outside your comfort zone,
Right.
if you're not taking risks,
You're not growing.
you're not going to fail, but you're also not going to grow.
Right.
Right.
That's a good point. So, okay, so we're reframing, we're looking at failure as a good thing,
Yes.
as a learning opportunity, which that kind of leads us into this next point, which
Hmm.
is this idea of feedback and
Yes.
the power of feedback and how can we get the most out of it, especially when it's not always positive.
Right, because not all feedback is created equal.
Right.
Right.
And so what do we do with that?
Well, I think, first of all, you have to be open to it.
Okay.
All right. You have to be willing to receive it, even if it's not what you want to hear.
Oh, that's hard.
It is hard,
Yeah.
but it's so valuable because it gives us those outside perspectives that we often miss. Think of it like this. You're navigating a maze, and feedback is like having a map that helps you find your way.
Ooh, I like that.
It highlights blind spots and reveals areas for improvement. And when you combine that feedback with the understanding that setbacks are stepping stones, you're able to navigate those challenges more effectively
That's great.
because you're not taking it so personally. You're not getting so discouraged.
Right, you're looking at it as like, okay, this is
information. This is data.
yeah, this is how I get better. This
This
is
is how I grow.
yeah. Okay, I like it.
Right.
Okay, so we're doing all this, we're reframing, we're looking at failure as a good thing, we're open to feedback.
Yeah.
But how do we actually stay motivated
Yes.
on this journey? Because it's easy to I don't know, to lose steam.
Absolutely.
So what does this source suggest about that?
Well, this source talks about the importance of celebrating progress, even the small wins.
Okay.
And I think that's so important because it's so easy to get caught up in, this idea of like, I'm not where I want to be yet. I haven't achieved this big, massive goal.
Right, right.
But if we can take the time to acknowledge and appreciate those smaller victories along the way, it can make a huge difference in terms of our motivation, in terms of our momentum,
Mhm.
because like giving ourselves little rewards along the way,
Mhm.
it reinforces those positive habits
Uh-huh.
and it reminds us that we're capable of growth. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I did that. I can do this too.
I love that. I love that.
It's almost like giving yourself like a little high five,
Yes.
Like, keep going.
Mhm.
You're doing it. You're on the right track.
I love it.
So celebrate those small wins. Don't discount them.
Okay, so we've got reframing, we've got, appreciating failure, feedback, celebrating the small wins.
Yeah.
What else? What's the last one?
This last point is huge.
Okay.
And I think it ties everything together.
Okay.
Curiosity. The
Curiosity.
power of curiosity.
Fun.
This source talks about how curiosity is the engine of lifelong learning.
It seems so simple, but it's like, why? I mean, it's true though, when you think about it, like when you are curious about something,
Yes.
you're engaged.
You're engaged, you're interested, you're excited to learn more, you ask questions.
Yes.
And when you approach life with a curious mind, you're always asking questions. You're exploring new ideas, you're seeking out new information. And that's the foundation of a growth mindset.
Yeah. And that ties back into everything we talked about, because if you're curious, you're not afraid to fail.
Exactly.
You're not afraid to ask for feedback.
You're open to the detours.
You're open to the detours
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Let me go down this path for a minute and see what's over here.
Exactly.
I love it.
So cultivate that curiosity.
So much good stuff here. So many tools, tips, tricks, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
If you had to pick one, just one,
Oh, that's so tough.
to focus on this week, to really implement, which one would it be for you?
Oh, man. That's like choosing a favorite child.
Mm.
But I think for me, it all comes back to curiosity. I think if you can cultivate that sense of wonder, that openness to new experiences, that willingness to ask questions and explore, it can fuel all the other aspects of a growth mindset.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So I would say, what's one thing you can explore this week just out of pure curiosity? You might be surprised by where it leads you.
I love that. Great food for thought, for sure. All right, until next time, everyone, stay curious and keep those growth mindsets thriving.